Every place has a story. Some stories refuse to stay buried. Tonight, we travel south, past the rice terraces of Giola province, past the new highways and the bright billboards advertising apartments that will never fill, into a fold of mountains the locals simply call the old place. Goul. The word means village, but no one in the surrounding towns will say it without lowering their voice. On modern maps of South Korea, the area is blank, a pale green smear of forest, unnamed, unmarked. Yet between 1910 and 1987, more than 200 people lived there. Farmers, beekeepers, a schoolteacher, a midwife who delivered 3 generations of children in the same wooden house. In the spring of 1987, every one of them left in a single night. They left their rice cooking on the stove. They left their shoes by the door. And in the decades since, no one, not the government, not the church, not the curious has ever spent a full night in Goyul and returned the same. This is the story of the old place, and the thing that decided it would not be left alone. To understand Goyul, you must first understand what the Korean countryside was during the long shadow of the 20th century. After the Japanese occupation ended in 1945, after the war that split the peninsula in 1953, villages like Goyul existed in a strange suspension, too remote for industry, too poor for tourists, too stubborn to die. The houses were hanok, traditional wooden homes with curved tile roofs, some of them built before the Joseon dynasty had ended. The oldest building in the village was a small shrine at the base of the mountain. A mudang, a shaman, had tended it for as long as anyone could remember. When she died, her daughter took her place. When the daughter died, the granddaughter. The line went back, according to village records, more than 400 years. The shrine was dedicated to something the villagers called halmioni, grandmother. They did not mean an ancestor. They meant the mountain itself, or rather, what slept beneath it. The villagers had 3 rules. You did not climb the mountain after dark. You did not speak Halmioni's true name, which only the shaman knew. And you did not, under any circumstance, dig. Not for wells, not for graves, not even for radishes too deep in the soil. Children who broke the 3rd rule were punished with a switch. Adults who broke it were escorted out of the village by the elders and not invited back. In 1962, a man named Park Cheol-soo was found dead in his field the morning after digging a new latrine pit. His eyes, the coroner wrote, had been removed with what appeared to be great care. No suspect was ever named. The villagers buried him without ceremony and filled in the hole he had made. For 2 decades after that, nothing happened. The village aged. The young people left for Seoul, for Busan, for jobs in factories. By 1986, only 47 people remained in Goul, most of them over 60. The shaman was a woman in her 30s named Yoon Mi-ja. She had inherited the role from her grandmother and had, by all accounts, taken it seriously. She performed the seasonal rites. She tended the shrine. She kept the rules. Then came the surveyors. In the autumn of 1986, the provincial government announced a new road. It would cut through the valley below Goul, connecting 2 larger towns and bringing, the officials promised, prosperity. The road required a survey. The survey required test bores. And the test bores required digging. Yoon Mi-ja walked down the mountain herself to meet the engineers. She was polite. She brought them rice cakes. She explained, in careful and patient Korean, that they could not dig here. The engineers laughed. Not cruelly. They simply did not understand. They had permits. They had schedules. They had a country to modernize. They drilled their first bore the next morning, 300 meters from the shrine, 18 meters deep. According to the surviving log of the survey team, the drill struck something at 16 meters that was not stone and not soil. The bit came back coated in a substance the foreman described. in his own handwriting, as warm. Not warm to the touch from friction, warm in a way that felt alive. He noted that the smell reminded him of the inside of a mouth. They stopped drilling. They reported the anomaly. The provincial office told them to continue. On the night of April 14, 1987, every dog in the valley began to howl at the same moment. A truck driver passing on the lower road later told investigators he had to pull over because the sound was so loud he could not hear his own engine. He said the howling lasted 40 minutes and then stopped, all at once, as if every animal had been silenced by the same hand. When the sun came up, he drove into Goul to check on the people he knew there. The rice was still cooking, the shoes were still by the doors. The shrine at the base of the mountain was empty, its altar overturned, and Yun Mija's ceremonial knife was buried to the hilt in the wooden floor. There were no bodies. There was no blood. There were only 47 sets of footprints leading from the houses, up the mountain path, into the trees. None of them ever came back down. The official explanation, eventually, was mass migration. People had simply left. The government quietly canceled the road. They quietly removed Goyul from the next printing of the regional map. They quietly sealed the mountain path with a steel gate and posted a sign warning of unstable terrain. The sign is still there. The lock has been replaced 4 times. Each time, it has been found open from the inside. In 1994, a documentary crew from Seoul attempted to spend a night in the empty village. They were 3 people, a producer, a cameraman, and a sound engineer. They set up in the old schoolhouse, the largest building still standing. They had lights. They had radios. They had a satellite phone. At 2:47 in the morning, they made their final transmission. The producer's voice, recorded by the network back in Seoul, said only this: "She is at the door. She is asking us to come outside. She says she is the grandmother. She says she has been waiting. Please do not let us answer." The line went dead. A rescue team arrived at first light. They found the equipment intact. They found the lights still burning. They found 3 pairs of shoes lined up neatly outside the schoolhouse door, facing the mountain. They never found the crew. I have seen one of the photographs the cameraman took that night, recovered from a memory card the rescue team brought back. It shows the interior of the schoolhouse. The producer is in the foreground, looking toward the door. And in the doorway, just at the edge of the lamplight, there is the suggestion of a figure. Small. Stooped. Wearing what might be a traditional hanbok, white and gray. The face is not visible. The hands are. They are folded politely, the way an old woman might fold her hands when waiting to be invited inside. The investigator who first developed that photograph quit his job within a week. He told a colleague that he had looked at the image too long, alone, in the dark room. He said that when he turned off the safe light to leave, he heard a voice in the corner of the room. A woman's voice. Old, polite. It asked him in country dialect if he had come to visit. It asked him if he would like some rice. It asked him 3 times to please take off his shoes. He left the building running. He moved out of the country within a month. The photograph remains in a sealed file at a regional police archive in Gwangju. The file is marked, in red ink, "Do not reopen." Goul is still there. The houses are still standing, though the roofs have begun to fall. The shrine is still at the base of the mountain. The steel gate is still locked or unlocked, depending on the day. Hikers occasionally photograph it from a distance. They report a feeling of being watched from the trees. They report sometimes the smell of rice cooking. If you know the true name of what sleeps beneath that mountain, or if your grandmother ever whispered the rules of a village like Goul, leave A in the comments below. The archivist reads every name. Some of them I already know. Sleep well, if you can.